Hello and welcome to 2CrazyMedia. I'm your host Matthew, and today I'm going to be giving my review on 007 First Light. I am recording this video as of Wednesday, June 3rd. Usually we don't put out videos on Wednesdays, but we just didn't have time to put out a video yesterday with the PlayStation State of Play and just being busy afterwards. We just didn't have the time, and I've been wanting to make this review for a while now, so I said, you know what, I've got time this morning. Let's finally get this review in and put it out today. This will not be the only video that we probably put out on the channel today. Right after this, me and my co-host Jason is going to be joining me for a video going over the PlayStation State of Play that happened yesterday, talking about it, going over all the reveals, giving our opinions, our review on the whole State of Play in general, and all of that. So expect that also later today as well. And then tomorrow we will have a video predicting some of the reveals for SGF, which is happening on Friday. We did the same for State of Play over the weekend, and we're going to do the same with SGF. We're going to make a video tomorrow predicting what we think is going to be revealed, all that, and then the video will come out tomorrow, and then in anticipation for Friday's Summer Games Fest. So stay tuned for that. So today we are going to have two videos, which is a little bit different, something we don't rarely do, but I wanted to get my 007 First Light review out. Now I felt like it's been enough time. I've had enough time to play, to really have it all sink in, and the game's been out for long enough where I feel like it's now time to really get a review out. So finally, let's jump straight into the review for 007 First Light. So just to go over some of the basic facts about it firsthand, it is developed by IO Interactive. It released on May 27th, 2026. It currently, as of Wednesday, June 3rd, is sitting on OpenCritic with a score of 88 and Metacritic with a score of 87, so extremely good. That's really, really good. Very high scores. So the time I've spent playing the game is around 45 hours. Usually they say the story takes around anywhere between 10 to 15 hours. It took me around 15 to 16 hours just because I took my time with it, the story, but it'll take anywhere between 10 if you really rush it. Which I don't recommend. Take your time, enjoy it. But I've spent the rest of my time going through a lot of the post-game stuff, so the tax sim missions, and also just going through the main story again, getting collectibles, getting achievements done, and all of that. So the platforms the game is on is currently at the moment it is on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, with a Switch 2 version coming this summer. The platform I played the game on is PS5 Pro, so got all the wonderful benefits the PS5 Pro provides, such as the great PSSR, and just the game looks fantastic and gorgeous on PS5 Pro, I must say. I haven't seen it like running in person on PS5, but on base PS5, but I can say that PS5 Pro runs perfectly, and I've only had a couple frame rate slowdowns, maybe once or twice in like the same area on the same mission, and it's just because there's a lot going on screen and a lot of explosions and other effects going on, so it makes sense. I'm not, blaming the game for that when it only happens like once, and it's not like it's fair. There's a lot going on screen, like a lot. And just to give a quick synopsis before I give my thoughts. So 007 First Light is an origin story that follows a 26-year-old reckless Royal Navy recruit as he attempts to earn his elite 00 status. When a routine retrieval mission in Iceland goes wrong, Bond must defy MI6 orders to survive, rescue hostages, and uncover a massive global conspiracy. So let's just jump straight into my review. I'm going to start with spoiler-free kind of, and then go into spoilers once I go into more deeper pros and cons and all that stuff. But just to start with my overall thoughts of the game, I absolutely loved 007 First Light. If for some context, for those of you who may not have watched many episodes on this channel, I love story-focused, narrative-driven games like this. It's usually my favorite kind of game. Games like this, like Resident Evil, Requiem, stuff like that are usually the games that, like Uncharted 4, are the games that really draw me in the most. Uncharted 4 is one of my top 4 all-time favorite games. It's a game I absolutely love and play all the time. And I've kind of been waiting for a game to feel like that, but just haven't ever gone that really. I've had games that have come close, but never a game that has felt on the level to me as Uncharted 4, where I love games with crazy action set pieces where it feels like I am playing a movie. I'm not just watching a movie, I'm playing in it. With also good gameplay. I'm not just talking about cool action set piece moments, good writing, good storytelling, all that. I want good gameplay as well. And this game provides all of that at great, fantastic length. This game really is the game I've been looking for, kind of my dream game. I've said this before when talking about what my most anticipated games of the year were, and this is one of the games that was one of my most anticipated going into this year. I absolutely couldn't wait for this just because I felt like the way everyone was comparing it when we first saw gameplay last year and all that stuff was it felt kind of, or like early this year and all that stuff, is that it kind of reminded a lot of people of a mix between Uncharted 4 and then Hitman, IO Interactive's past game, which I also really love. I do love Hitman. Hitman's a great game. So I already kind of went into this game with a lot of hype. People were comparing to Uncharted. I love Uncharted. I love IO because of Hitman. And I also love James Bond, one of my favorite movie characters. I love the Bond films. I've seen so many of them and I've watched them all so many times. So I went into this game with a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, just because everything around it was aspects I loved, and it really did seem like a dream game, a game that had the fun action craziness of an Uncharted game, with the cool social stealth elements of a Hitman game, and in a James Bond package, with also licensed cars, which is always I love licensed cars. Any racing game with cool like real life cars is always going to be something that draws me in. Especially I love seeing, I don't know why, but I love seeing licensed cars in video games that aren't necessarily driving games. And it's not like other licensed brands, it's just really licensed cars. Like seeing Land Rovers and Jaguars and Aston Martins in this game is like really cool. And seeing that in the trailers got me like really hyped as well, because you can't have a James Bond anything, a film, TV, video game, without Aston Martins and Jaguars and Land Rovers. You just can't. So I'm glad they did that. The very smart decision on IO's part. But so this really going into this really was like my dream game, the game I've always been wanting and never really have gotten until now. And to finally have it, I had such high expectations. So I was a little worried going into it. You know, when previews came out about a month or two ago, people were very high on it. People were saying this is like first real game of the year competitor, and I was getting really hyped. I was like, whoa, I was expecting this to be like mid 80s range, mid to low 80s in terms of review scores. It'd be good, but nothing amazing. And then people all of a sudden start coming out and saying it's game of the year worthy. And I'm like, whoa, hold on, this might be like even more hyped. And it comes out, and I'm at super high expectations of this one, and it delivered. I absolutely love 007 First Light so much. Going into this game, I really did take my time with the story and wanting to kind of really let it all sink in. I knew I'd play this game multiple times and do multiple playthroughs, which I have, and just kind of wanting to really, but first in my first playthrough, let it all sink in, kind of like, almost like if I'm not going to have a second playthrough. Like, I really want to get it all in my first run, and kind of going through that and playing like that, I really just enjoyed it, of just taking it all in with the world, to the characters, to the action set piece moments, and really everything like that. I absolutely love 007 First Light so much. Like, I am so happy that a game like this, that I was this excited for, has delivered for me on all my expectations and surpassed them. Like, I was not expecting this to be like game of the year worthy for me, at least, and it is. And like, I'm expecting this game to hopefully get nominated at the end of the year for the Game Awards for a game. I don't think it'll win, but I think just to get a nomination would be awesome. And honestly, I'm expecting that now. Like, this game, I was not expecting that going into it, like about a month ago. And to have that feeling now is so cool for a game I was this excited for. And 007 First Light is a game that I cannot stop thinking about. This is a game I constantly always want to be playing. I love the gameplay. It's not just the fantastic story and the amazing writing and the characters that are all so great and have so much charisma and character and like draw to them. It's not just that keeps me wanting to play this game and makes me love it so much. It's the gameplay that is so good. It reminds me a lot of other games this year that have come out where maybe like Resident Evil Requiem is another game where it has a really good story that I really enjoyed, and I love all the characters from obviously Leon to Grace and all that. And then also it has awesome gameplay with Leon's combat and how fun that is and how addicting it is and how good it feels to play. And that reminds me a lot of 007 First Light, where I love Patrick Gibson as James Bond. I think he is a fantastic Bond. He really portrays the character so well. And I was like, oh, I don't know if anyone can beat Daniel Craig. I don't know if he beats Daniel Craig for me, just because Daniel Craig is my favorite Bond. I love Daniel Craig as Bond. But he is really good, and I think holds a candle, at least, to many of the Bonds out there that have, many of the actors that have played Bond in the past. Like, just for starring in a video game, not even a movie, Patrick Gibson does a fantastic job as Bond. His sort of demeanor and his tone and the way he sort of acts as Bond just works so well, and I think there's a really good mix of Craig's more seriousness tone to a lot of the other past Bonds and more of their more comedic tones and line delivery and stuff like that. I think he really toes the line between that perfectly well, and it's just a lot of fun. I think his Bond is so good. It's so awesome, and I think it works really well for a video game, which I didn't expect really to say that a Bond will work really well as a video game, but Patrick Gibson's Bond really does. It's great. And all the other characters from, Moneypenny to M to Q to a lot of some of the new characters they're introducing, like you got Webb and 009 and all of Bond's, crewmates that he's 00 agents that he's training with. So like Cressida and Monroe and all of them, and kind of meeting them all and getting to know them all. They're all great characters. There isn't one bad character, and Greenway especially, who is my second favorite character of the game. I think Lenny James, who plays Greenway, does a fantastic job. I think all the actors in this game are amazing and extraordinarily good performances. Like, there's not one bad performance in this game. I think everyone's fantastic. My two standouts are definitely Patrick as Bond. He's fantastic. But also Lenny James as Greenway. I think his Greenway portrayal is fantastic. It's a really good character. The sort of back and forth that Bond and Greenway have together on missions is really fun. It works really well. And okay, I'm just gonna get into spoiler territory with this one, but I'm sure most of you have either played the game already. At least most of you watching this video have either played the game already or have watched YouTube videos on it, or just don't really care about spoilers. But something that I really thought was genius about this, so I think most things about the story were pretty genius. It was a really well written Bond origin story, but what I really liked was the villain. Usually when you have this, obviously a lot of people, including myself, when I first heard that the villain's going to be an AI, I'm like, oh my god, we're doing the whole Mission Impossible stuff again. And that, I would honestly, most people, including myself, would argue wasn't really the best, I'd say, in those movies, and a little disappointing. And I'm like, all right, we're just going to get another evil AI type of deal. But surprisingly, it wasn't that, and it was actually portrayed really well, where the AI in this game, Thea, when you first learn about it, they're like, it's perfect, it's never gotten anything wrong. It's why we have such a perfect track record, all that stuff. And it's obviously, you immediately see that cutscene, you're like, okay, this is going to be bad. Like, any kind of AI in today's day and any kind of media from a game to a movie is usually, when it's portrayed, it's usually probably evil or goes wrong. And so there was no shock about that. But what was really genius is that the AI itself isn't evil or has any evil intentions. The AI just gets stuff wrong, which is extremely realistic, honestly, and really cool, and not something I've seen in really any kind of media where the AI isn't evil, it just gets stuff wrong. And because of that, the bad guy, Sir Nicholas Webb, who is the founder of the tech company that built the AI system, basically he sends his son and his group of mercenary black ops killers to go clear up the AI's mistakes and make it so it seems like that the AI is right. And that usually leads to the death of innocent people. And I think it's honestly really genius. It works really well, where the AI itself is not the bad guy necessarily. It just gets stuff wrong. And I think that is so smart. It's just it's something I haven't seen yet in really anything, and it's just really good use, and it doesn't oh, that's cool, but it's not delivered well. I think it works really well, and it also sets itself up for sequels and how that will continue forward with obviously Thea not being destroyed, and it's still a threat and a problem, and who knows who's going to have it now with the ending and how the game ends and how it leaves kind of on a cliffhanger to kind of lead us into whether it's going to be a DLC or just a sequel. Who knows, but I'm excited to see and I think it ends really well. But kind of going away from the story and the writing and how fantastic that all is, but going into the actual gameplay of it all. Because at the end of the day, this is a great video game with a really good gameplay loop. And that is the First, I want to talk about the combat. And I have to say it, we've had some great combat systems in video games this year. I mean, Resident Evil Requiem also obviously had a very cool evolution of the classic Resident Evil third-person Leon shooting over the shoulder combat, and how cool that felt. And then with going into Pragmata and with the whole hacking system and how cool that was, and Saros being so gameplay forward and gameplay heavy and awesome. I didn't think any game could be even better with gameplay this year, but I'm happy to say that 007 First Light has not only just my favorite gameplay system or combat system of this year, probably of any game I've ever played. The combat is so cool in this game. It is on another level. Like, I've always wanted a game where the combat looks and feels like a John Wick movie, and I've never gotten that. Games have come close, obviously, you know, there are random games, like Sleeping Dogs has some awesome combat, and especially with the animations. And, you know, Watch Dogs Legion has some cool, like, gun-fu elements to it all. And you've got, even Resident Evil Requiem with the cool takedown finishers that you can do on enemies. Like, all kind of very cool John Wick-esque, but no game has ever truly reached that level of how it feels. They all look like John Wick, but they never have felt like a John Wick movie. And this game does both so well, where, you know, it's not just, you know, punching enemy by pressing square on the PlayStation controller, and then pairing them by pressing circle, which the pairing feels great. It's awesome. The punching feels nice. It feels weighty when you're punching someone. It doesn't just feel like you're punching and it's not being received on the enemy's part, really. It looks and feels weighty. Which is an issue that a lot of games have. But it's not just that. So my favorite thing to do with the combat in this game, you can throw things. Throwing is a lot of fun. It looks great, and it's really cool just to press the right trigger, and just chuck, say you're near like a can of soda or like an iron, you grab it and chuck it at the enemy, and it's so fun. It's so cool. But I love grabbing enemies and like kind of running with them and chucking them into something. It's so satisfying to like grab a guy and possibly like rush him into like a wall or like an electric box to like electrocute him. It's just, or like kind of throw them off a cliff. Like, it's so cool, and I'm like, that's so much fun. I'm addicted to just being in combat and grabbing an enemy, and like, if you're near a wall, you grab an enemy and Bond will just smash them into the wall you're next to. And it is so cool how like sort of the environment also plays into the combat, and how environmentally aware this game is, where, I know it's a weird term, I guess, for a video game, but in the sense of like, the game knows that if you're next to a wall and you're grabbing an enemy, Bond's gonna slam that enemy's head into the wall. If you're next to a desk, Bond is you hold the trigger, and instead of rushing someone over the desk or under it, Bond is just going to slam that guy's head onto the desk. And it works really well, and it looks so cool, and it looks fluid. It looks like what an action movie would look like. I've had so many cool moments of playing through the story and playing through cool missions, but also just going through Taxim and just watching how cool the combat looks while I'm playing, and just how mesmerizing and awesome. The amount of people that I have shown at least videos or just full gameplay of like, look at this cool mission, look how cool it is, look how cool the combat is. Like, what comes to mind immediately is the one part of the game during the uninvited chapter where you are going through the web gala, and sort of towards the end where you are in this cool museum hall with all these LED lights everywhere. Like, the whole room is just filled with lights. The walls are all lights and stuff. And it feels like a room that would be in a John Wick movie. And you are just going through there with so many armored enemies and taking them all out. And you're punching them, you're throwing them into the walls, and you're grabbing their guns. And also, something I haven't talked about yet, the gunplay feels so good in this game. Like, extremely good. Like, for them to balance how good not just the combat feels, but the gunplay as well, for those to both feel fantastic at the same time is just so amazing. Like, very few games are able to balance both at such a perfect level, where usually some games the gunplay feels better than the fighting, so you usually stick to the gunplay, or the fighting feels better than the gunplay, so you usually stick to the fighting. In this game, they both feel fantastic, and they're both used in such a perfect level, in such a level where you are using them together. They coexist so well, where you are in a full-on gunfight with people. and you have very limited ammo. You don't just like pick up ammo. You do pick up ammo if you find the same gun off of an enemy, but usually you are running out of ammo a lot of the time in gunfights. So you are holding the trigger, you are chucking a gun at an enemy's head, which is so cool, by the way. Running at them, taking down them, grabbing their gun in a cool finisher animation, then immediately going and aiming at another guy, slowing down time, shooting them in the head, chucking the gun at another guy. It's just, and so on and so forth, in such crazy, awesome ways. And it is so, so cool. I love the gunplay. It feels great, like slowing down time, getting headshots on multiple guys, one at a time, boom, boom, boom. Feels so cool. It really just feels like an awesome action movie. Like, I am obsessed with how cool the combat feels in this game. The gunplay, the fighting, just everything about this game and how it feels. And it's not just like, there's also a lot of stealth. There are moments where, and the great thing about this game is the option of choice. You may think from that this game kind of locks you into combat sections all the time. Well, no, there's only very few sections of the game where you are forced to be in a gunfight. I can only think of just a few. There's not many. Most of the times when you are encountering enemies, you have the choice of either going stealthy, going loud, or not even taking down anyone and just sneaking past everyone. You have so many different options of what to do, and I love that. It really feels like such a great evolution of the Hitman games, where this is kind of like a Hitman Light, where it is not full Hitman, where you are like, there is a lot of action, while there isn't a lot of action in Hitman. Usually if you get into a gunfight in Hitman, unless you're really, really good at it, you're kind of screwed. And that's how the game is designed. The game is designed to want you to be stealthy. The game isn't really designed to just get into full gunfights. This game, it's designed for both, which is awesome, where you can, if you want to, you've got a ton of enemies in this room ahead of you, in a couple rooms, you can sneak past all of them. You can hack different things, put smoke in the environment, be able to smoke everyone out, get past enemies undetected, hack their phones, get them distracted, make them sick, make them walk away from where they're standing. There's so many different options to stealth around people and to get from point A to B without getting caught, without getting into a fight. And even if you do get into a fight, you can easily get back to stealth very fast by just, say there's two enemies in a room and you get caught by them. The whole area isn't going to be alerted that you're there. You take down those two enemies, and if you can stop any of them from calling back up, then you're back to being undetected. And it's great. It's what a lot of games these days, like Watch Dogs Legion has done that, and a lot of games do that these days, where like games in the past where if you get caught once, you're screwed, you have to get into a full-on fight, it's over. With this game, it's the complete opposite. And I really, really like that. It really gives people the option, and if you do screw up, you can fix your mistakes. And the game is like, if you do screw up and you do get caught, then get into a fight. Have fun with it, because the combat feels awesome, and it is really good. And the stealth is also a lot of fun. Like, usually in games like this, I'm not a big stealth guy. Other than Hitman, I'm usually playing games where, like in Uncharted, I rarely would do stealth moments. I would usually, when I'm playing Uncharted, just immediately get into firefights and just start shooting enemies, because it felt fun and it was cool, and swinging around enemies and punching them in the face and all that stuff was a ton of fun in Uncharted. And I would think that's what I would kind of be doing in this game as well, is kind of avoiding the stealth. But the stealth is just as fun. I think the stealth is a blast as well to play. It's really, really fun. There's just a ton of different options, like I said, with the stealth of what you can do. And at the end of the day, like, if you do get caught, it's not the end of the world, and you can have just as much fun with taking down enemies and gunplay and fighting enemies as well. And, you know, when you first fight an enemy, it's just hand-to-hand combat at first, which, again, feels great. And then after a certain amount of time, if you're still in a fight with people, an enemy may start to shoot at you, and that then grants you a license to kill. And so then you can take out your gun and start killing enemies and start shooting them, and then it feels so cool as well. I really like that system, and how it doesn't immediately just, as soon as you get in a fight, you can't immediately take the easy way out and just start shooting enemies. You have to also be good with physical combat. You gotta, maybe you will have the chance of, because look, once a firefight starts, it's kind of hard to get back into stealth. It's almost impossible. But that's like a last-ditch scenario in a lot of situations. And a lot of times, you are just going to be going around, and if you do get caught, you get in a fight, you take them all out before anyone pulls a gun on you, then boom, back to stealth. and that's just really, really fun. There's a lot of things around the environment, again, that you can use to, you can shoot down pots of plants and kill enemies there. You can shoot down big scaffolding and blow enemies up. It's just a ton of fun. I loved the sort of action, the way the action works with also the social stealth, and kind of kind of transitioning into how great the social stealth, the more Hitman elements are. There are a handful of times in the game where you are walking around an area, and it's less about stealthing and sneaking past enemies and taking them out, but more about just kind of using your environment, finding maybe some disguises, talking to people, learning some things, and all that, kind of like Hitman. And it is really, really cool how they kind of use that. And I've heard some people talk about how that kind of slows down the pacing, where it goes from like breakneck action to like really slow, like just walking around a hotel and listening for like any like audio cues to listen to enemies and maybe possibly learn some new thing you can do, or convince an enemy to open a door, or convince like a worker of the hotel to open a door for you. Some people will argue that does slow down the pacing. And while I can see where they come from, I personally don't think it slows down the pacing at all, because I think it just adds to the James Bond-ness of it all, where James Bond isn't just all shooting enemies and taking them down, blowing people up. Yeah, sure, he's doing that a bunch in the movies, but that's not all he does. He is a smooth talker. He is someone who knows how to work his way around places and knows how to get into a place that he shouldn't normally be in. And the whole system of bluffing and distracting is really, really cool. It's another system you can do when you're maybe stealthing around or just walking around. You get two options. You can bluff an enemy if you get caught by them and you confront them, instead of getting into a fight, there's a chance where you can bluff them if you have enough like points to bluff. And if you bluff them, then James Bond will have a really funny quip about, either say you took down an enemy and another guy sees you, you can say, oh, this guy just passed out. This guy passed out. I was just helping him up. We need a bunch of set of guys. And the guy's like, okay, yeah, go ahead. They like don't suspect anything. Or you're in a room that you're not supposed to be in, and the guy catches you. He's like, oh, I'm actually like working higher up. You don't like get back to work. I'll tell this to your boss, and they kind of believe you. And it was only for a short amount of time, so you better get out of there as fast as you can, because if that runs out, then they will be like, oh, you're not supposed to be back here, and then you'll get into a fight. But it is really, really smart, and I think it's so cool. I haven't really ever seen a game do that. It's sort of a get out of jail free card, but still kind of adds to sort of the challenge of it all. And I think it is really, really smart, and just works well with Bond's character and who Bond is. It's honestly kind of perfect, in my opinion. It's great. But enough of that stuff, kind of just final sort of things. I love the action set pieces, and yeah, the pacing. I don't think it ever slows down for me. There's about 10 chapters in the game, and each of them are all fantastic. I think the ending of the game works really, really well. It sets us some really cool stuff with some characters. I've obviously got some predictions as someone who's seen many of the Bond films of what kind of villain group we're leading up to, and I cannot wait to see that happen, because that seems like almost a dream come true for this game for me, and where it's gonna go. It seems very, very cool. Can't wait to see what IO does with it. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying the game. I think moments like that and the pacing overall is just really fantastic, and I don't think it ever lets up for me, at least, because I love both the social stealth elements and the crazy action set pieces. Like, going around the hotel mission and talking to people and getting through areas, I think is a ton of fun, and I think it is just almost just as fun as, when you're running onto the plane and defeating all the enemies on the airfield right after, and you are driving that truck, that like airport truck, jumping onto the airplane, fighting enemies on the wing of the plane, going in, hacking the airplane, kind of getting to control the wings and how it goes, and then falling through the air, Uncharted style. I think those moments really flow together well, and also the driving is really, really cool. I love the drive. I don't think the driving feels that bad. I think at times it can feel a little strange, but they're not like a driving game studio. They're not working on. This is the first time making cars, so it's honestly, I give it a pass, because it still does feel pretty good, and I never had moments where I'm like, oh, this is really slowing down this cool action driving car chase for me. This kind of sucks. Like, I liked all the driving moments. The one again with the Valhalla is so cool, because it really feels like a lot like the ending of Batman Arkham Knight, which is really, really cool. Definitely probably a homage. The developers probably looked at that and said, yeah, I love the world. I love talking to the characters, using all the gadgets. The use of the watch and the dart gun and the missile pen is so cool. I think it works really well for Bond with all the gadgets he has, and I love using them all. My favorite was the missile pen. The missile pen is so cool. And now kind of getting away from all that and just finally talking about at the end, the post-game content. The tax sim missions, a ton of fun. Really, really enjoyed them all. I've played through all of them. There's not that many at launch currently. There's only around like 5 or 6 tax sim missions. I've done them all. I'm slowly getting through like completing all the challenges, and it honestly is really addicting though. That's the nice thing, is that it's not like a one and done thing. I have had a lot of fun playing tax sim missions, and I know a lot of people as well have just really enjoyed going through them and kind of grinding them out and completing challenges, and how addicting they are, which is, I think, says a lot about how good the combat and gameplay of the game is. Yeah, so really, really enjoy it. Cannot wait for more updates. I'm really curious to see how this game is updated, whether they want to treat this like we are getting 007 First Light updates 3 years in advance, or if we get a few like small like tax sim updates, like a few more tax sim missions added along the road, and then in like 2 or 3 years from now we get 007 First Light number 2, whatever it's titled. Yeah, I'd be super curious to see, like, will there be a lot of celebrity targets in this game like we have in Hitman? Who knows, really. I'm excited to see what's up, what IO is going to be doing with this game. But, like, I'm in for whatever update they add. I will be there. I love this game that much. And so, because of this, I don't really have many cons. Finally getting into the cons. I know I've been talking about how great this game is for the whole video, and finally I only have 2 cons, and genuinely, they're just kind of smaller stuff that can be fixed later down the line. Like, I don't have any issues with anything that like can't be fixed, like the gameplay to the driving to the story to any of that. I think it's all just fantastic. The pacing, the length of the game, how long it takes to finish, the writing, everything, the action set pieces, the slower social stealth moments, the bluffing, the gadgetry, everything is so good. The missions, I think the one character that may not have the best performance is like Lenny Kravitz, but I'm not shocked it's Lenny Kravitz. I wasn't expecting a fantastic performance. I think what he still does in the game is still good enough. I honestly just wish there was more of his character, but I understand why there's not more of his character. Like, I totally get it. I'm not knocking the game for that. It makes sense why he kind of is only in that mission. You know, I love the villains, loved Webb, loved his crazy son Damien, super cool. The boss fights is another interesting thing that I really enjoyed. Kind of like Batman Arkham-esque, another sort of inspiration from Batman Arkham, where you have the boss fights are very much kind of like if you think of like the Mr. Freeze boss fight. It's very similar, where like the enemies kind of learn from you, and you gotta stealth around them, find stuff around their environment to then damage them. There's multiple times like that, and I think they're all pretty fun. I think they're all enjoyable enough where like I am enjoying the story enough where I think it's believable, and I think it's cool, and I like them. I know some people have an issue with those. I personally don't. I really enjoyed them. I thought they were a lot of fun. But yeah, kind of just getting into some like cons that I think they could just fix along the road. One is that the load times are pretty long, and this is not just a me issue. I think everyone has just kind of been agreeing that the load times are really long. And it could be annoying when you're going back and repeating some parts of missions to complete challenges, which I've been doing for a while now, and going back and just having to wait so long for the load times can be a little annoying and tedious. So hopefully they do fix that. I don't know how they can, but hopefully they do. And then I've had some crashes where the game will just crash on me. Again, it's not the first game this year. It's not the only game this year that has crashes. A lot of games have crashes. Obviously, you can't excuse that. Hopefully they can fix that, but that is just something that they can fix along the road. So I don't knock them too much for that. And like, genuinely, those are really the only cons I can think of. I've been trying to think for a while of any more cons I do have about this game. There's some stuff I didn't like, and everything I think about, I love. Like, when I try to think and go back to all the missions in the game and think, are there any missions that are not great? And it's kind of slow down. And I think they're all just top notch, from how amazing the training montage is. The training montage is definitely the best training in any video game ever. Yeah, it may go for a while, but I had no problem with it being long and taking up a good chunk, because it was that fun and it didn't feel like I was going through a training montage. It felt like any other mission in the game, and it was really, really cool how cool that training montage is and how well that works. I think it works really, really well in the game. And so I looked at that and I think how great that is, and I think how great the opening is in Iceland, and how cool that mission is, and how great it sets the tone for the whole game going forward, and how it introduces Bond so well before he even joins the 00 program. Missions like the hotel mission is obviously a standout, and how great the game mixes the hitman social stealth moments with the cool, crazy action set pieces. Uninvited is another awesome mission where it starts with a home raid, and how fun that part is with the sniper boss, and how crazy it all kind of gets, and how addicting that is as well, and how fun that again, the social stealth combining with the action set pieces, how perfect that work kind of blends together. I love the mission in Vietnam at the hotel, and how that felt the closest to a Hitman mission, being able to kind of just let you walk around the hotel, the whole thing, find these 3 characters and all that stuff, and find different ways to kind of go through it all, and how fun that mission is, and how it really feels like Hitman in the best way. So and the last mission, and there were multiple times where I thought, oh, the game is going to end here, and then it doesn't, and it keeps going, and not in a bad way, but like in a really cool way, where it's like, whoa, that's awesome, what a cool twist there, and how, oh, Damien's not dead, he's still alive, and who's he working for now, and who is Isola working for, and kind of learning more about her, or learning as little as you can about her throughout the game, and how cool that all is. And I think that all works really well. Like the last mission and what it sets up for the future of this, hopefully, video game franchise is really, really cool. And I can't wait. As a Bond fan, as someone who kind of knows or has a good idea of what this game is leading to and what it's setting up, makes me very, very excited for what is going to happen next with this character and this world and all that stuff. But yeah, so I just can't think of really any cons from anywhere like that. I think this game is amazing. Again, this was a dream game for me going into it, and it really just did surpass my expectations. I've been wanting to talk about this game ever since I started playing it last week, and I've just been nonstop. I played this like every single day now. I am getting close to a platinum. I will platinum this game, and I'm getting close to completing all the main story challenges. I've completed almost every single chapter of main story challenges. There are a few more I have left to do with some pretty difficult challenges that I'm currently just working my way through, but I really am going to 100% this game because I love it that much. So that is going to be all from, just to kind of close it all out. This is a dream game that really just did surpass my extremely high and lofty expectations for it. It is a game that works so well in everything I love about video games and everything I want a video game to be, where it is combining fantastic writing and a fantastic story that works really well with great characters and great pacing, with some of the best gameplay I've ever played in a game, and how addicting and fun it looks and how good it looks as well. And kind of combining the amazing, crazy action set pieces that you only see in stuff like this in Uncharted with the fantastic social stealth elements that games like Hitman are known for, and combining that all into a perfect sort of game that feels so unapologetically Bond. This feels like anything else Bond, and that is fantastic. And I think combining that all together to kind of a game that I've always wanted, and a game that I absolutely love and adore, and that's why I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. But yeah, 10 out of 10 for me. This game is just fantastic, and I love it so much, and I can't wait to play more of it. I can't wait to see the updates and what they add later down the line, and the sequels, because I'm sure we'll get some. This game is selling really well and all that. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed this game, if you have any opinions, let me know in the comments below what you think of this game. What would you give it out of 10? If you're on the same, if you're also going to give it a 10, if you're going to give it lower. I feel like I'm probably on the higher, even though this game is getting great reviews, I'm probably on the higher range of giving it a 10. Most people are around an 8 to a 9, which is also really good, which I totally get. I just, as someone who kind of went into this wanting this to be my dream game, it very much was. But I know other people who weren't going to this wanting that. Let me know what you thought about the game, if you liked it. Maybe there's some areas that you didn't like. Definitely excited to hear your opinions in the comments. But that's going to be all for today's video. Again, stay tuned for probably another video today on our overview of the PlayStation State of Play that just happened yesterday, and then a video tomorrow going over our predictions for Summer Games Fest. So that's going to be all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and that's going to be all. Goodbye.